Well, hi again. Uh, well, as I said previously, in this part, uh, in the previous part we have already seen that the basics of the price floor, and now we will look how price floor itself can be analyzed. I mean, the market surplus, the benefits or harms done by the price floor concept can be analyzed by using the market surplus complex, not complex, of course, concept basically. So let's look upon it in that way. Let me take this. Okay. Um, um, okay. So let's start with this graph. What does this graph tell us? Uh, well, we have a regular demand and supply and consumer and producer surplus. So we can actually calculate consumer and producer surplus approximately. We don't see exact points, but approximately without price floor and then with price floor. And using after that we can also calculate the market surplus and basically the difference created by the price floor. So without price floor, let's start with that. So consumer surplus in that case is equal to 11 minus 6, which is the equilibrium price, times 5, which is the equilibrium quantity, times 0.5. Sorry for this. Okay, it is 5 times 5, which is 25 times 0.5, 12.5 units, whatever that is. Now, producer surplus is equal to this triangle, which is 6 minus 1. In this case, it is parallel, but it doesn't need to be that way, times 5 times 0.5, which is equal to 12.5 again. Market surplus is equal to, in this case, consumer surplus plus producer surplus. We don't have state revenue in this case, which is equal to 25. You could calculate it by subtracting 11 from 1 and multiply it with 5 and then multiply it with 0.5. But I'm raising this. So what will happen now if we have a price floor? So first thing is, if we have a price floor, in that case, not 7 units. Well, our price floor is at $8, and at $8, 7 units are supplied. I mean, the producers are willing to sell 7 units, but the buyers are demanding only 3 units. Well, since buyers don't buy more than 3 units, whatever the sellers are willing to sell, the 3 units will be sold in the end. So this will be the 3 is the amount of number of units of whatever it is produced of our good being sold. So consumer surplus is 11, 8. 8 is the price they pay. So for any buyer, we should subtract the amount he or she is willing to pay. We should subtract 8 from the amount he or she is willing to pay, not 6, as we would do if there was no price floor. But let's do that. Consumer surplus is equal to 11 minus 8. And then we should multiply it with the amount that is sold, actually. I mean, people only get consumer surplus for the units they buy. They don't get any surplus for the units they don't buy. and then we should multiply it with also 0.5. This 3 times 3 over 0.5, which is 1.5, I believe. No, 9. Of course, that will be 9. 4.5, basically. So the consumer surplus has fallen from 12.5 to 4.5. It's a drastic fall. What will happen to the producer surplus? Well, producer surplus is, these are our sellers, and the amount they are willing to sell are represented with this line, but they are selling at 8. Basically, all of them sell by 8, but they can only sell 3 units. So this trapezoid represents the producer surplus. Is it higher or lower than the previous producer surplus amount? We don't know. But previously, we had the line here at 6. So the producers have lost this triangle. They lost something because the amount they are able to sell has decreased compared with the equilibrium point case, if the market wasn't at equilibrium point. But they also won this rectangle, basically, because now price is higher compared with the case when the market is an equilibrium point. So producers have won something, lost something. We don't know whether what they won is higher or what they lose is higher. While consumers previously they were at they had this whole triangle, they certainly lost something. They certainly lost this whole area. So basically, consumer surplus will certainly be smaller in case of a price floor, but we don't know how the producer surplus will behave. It depends on the relative strength of whether the gain created by price increase will dominate or loss created by quantity decrease will dominate. And basically, if price floor is not that much high from the equilibrium price, in that case, well, basically we expect the gain created by price increase will dominate and producer surplus will increase. But the more, you can see, the more we decrease the actual, the more we actually increase the price floor away from the equilibrium point, the less will be sold, and we expect in that case at some point as we go away from the equilibrium point, producer surplus starts to decrease and ultimately it goes below the point where at the equilibrium point, basically below the point the producers get at the equilibrium point. So producer surplus is this rectangle, which is 8 minus 4 times 3, which is the amount they sell, plus 4 minus 1, which is this rectangle, times, again, 3. But now we should also multiply it with 0.5 since we are dealing with a triangle here. So it is 12 plus 4.5, which is equal to 16.5. This is equal to, this is more than the producer surplus in this case, 4 units more, basically. Okay. Now, market surplus is CS plus PS, which is equal to 4.5 plus 16.5, which is equal to 21, less. Well, market surplus is always expected to be less because in case of market surplus, there is no specific gain or loss from the price fluctuation. increase in price will benefit the producers, harm the consumers, and vice versa. But in case of market surplus, there is certainly a loss, and that loss is created by the decrease in the quantity that is sold in the market. So in this case, loss in market surplus, which has a special name, basically in economics, macroeconomics, it is called dead weight loss. In this case, is equal to ms. Let me write DWL is equal to 25 minus 21, which is equal to 4. We can also calculate the dead weight loss looking to the graph. This area represents dead weight loss. Previously, market surplus was this triangle. Now it is this trapezoid. So this triangle is lost, and that triangle is 8 minus 4 times 5 minus 3, basically. And then you should multiply it with 0.5 because it's a triangle. 4 times 2 over times 0.5, it is 4. It is a decrease in quantity sold plus, times the price floor, and then you go exactly below what is actual price. Well, what would be actual price if equilibrium quantity were 3, basically. Equilibrium quantity would be the quantity demanded at the price floor. So you should go just down and find the intersection point of this vertical line and the supply curve, which is in this case, and find the price for that point, which is in this case 4. So 8 minus 4 times 3, basically. Which is, again, as I said, you should ask what would be the quantity, what would be the price if quantity demanded were the equilibrium quantity, or how much would the basically what should be the price at which the producers will be willing to sell a quantity equal to the quantity demanded at the price floor. Anyway, so this is the price floor, the math of price floor, let me say. Now let's continue. So what we know is price floors certainly will decrease consumer surplus. Price floors may increase the producer surplus, but they may also decrease it. Both possibilities are there. We can find mathematically which one is true for any price floor, but price floors certainly will create loss in total market surplus. So with regulation, the total benefit we got from the market decrease, and that decrease is equal to dead weight loss, basically. Well, producers so going from the math part, let's try to go back and connect also the real life price floors to the math we have seen in previous minutes. Price floors above the price market price. Well, actually, we are very close to the 15 minutes mark. So let's continue in the next part. And in the next part, I will continue with this.